Alright guys, this is part 2 of my previous video about how to make an INFJ feel loved. So in the last video, part 1, I talked about how INFJs, especially males, cannot have their emotions repressed. And men in particular are incredibly touchy about their feelings. So it's already difficult for them to come clean, and it's very important that the reciprocator of that emotion can understand where the INFJ is coming from or try to, and be as empathetic as possible. And every emotion matters. All the anger, all the frustration, and none of it should be malicious. If you haven't already, consider checking out my video, 7 Trademarks of an Unhealthy INFJ. In that video, I go over a list of bad behaviors, toxic behaviors INFJs will commit, males and females, that show that there are some specific areas that need to be dealt with. And as you deal with each of those areas, you'll really start to feel better and more healthy about yourself. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to make an INFJ feel loved. So in the last video, we went over why it's so important to understand an INFJ's emotions. Understand that what they feel is what they have, and what they have is all you're going to have with them, so you need to be able to work on it and work with it. They, in turn, have to be able to manage what they're feeling in a healthy way that allows them to communicate with you and not shut you out. So you're here saying, okay, Eric, I got all of that. That makes a lot of sense. Tell me how to make an INFJ feel loved. All right. In this video, again, I'm going to primarily be talking about romantic relationships with INFJs. Romantic relationships with INFJs. These are the ones that you're dating, that you're courting, that you're married to, or even the ones that you're really interested in and you're trying to hit things off, okay? Personal connection's important. You have to be meeting in person at some point or other. For an INFJ, it just won't work otherwise. There has to be physical contact. Long-distance relationships don't work for an INFJ. Here's a prime example. In my hand, I'm holding a moth. When I open my hand and let it go, I'm going to feel emotions. I'm not sure if you could see that or not, but it just flew away. Now, that is your gift to the INFJ, okay? Some of you are scratching your head. Huh? All right, let me see if I can explain this. All right, so here's an example. This little moth right here, this little bug, see how it just flew away there? The flying part is the INFJ's emotions. The bug is your gift. I'm going to do my best to explain this. You want an INFJ to feel loved. Everything they feel is an emotion. Everything around them has beauty and instigates and triggers a feeling of feedback. Feedback, all right? The flying away was the feedback to your gift. That's what you want. That's the result you want. Okay. In order to make this happen, you want the INFJ to feel something positive. But INFJs are a paradox of emotions. We feel a lot of different things at the same time. Your interactions with us have to be based on our personality and likes and preferences, but not to trigger a response. If you want nothing but positive responses, that's the way to do it. You want to trigger in us a positive response. That's the goal. When you are married to an INFJ, this isn't as difficult because you can find out what they like a little bit easier. When you're only dating an INFJ, they're more reserved. They don't open up as much because they don't have the security. You not marrying them, not being wed to them, has triggered an emotional response of being concerned for their own emotional well-being, okay? You marrying them fixes that problem. So, having said that, when you are dating an INFJ, you want to find something that makes them feel valued. That should be your focus. Something that makes them feel valued. If they like going on walks at midnight and you're a day shift person, and you come over to their house at 8 p.m. and you hang around and it's 9:30. Normally, you're getting ready for bed and you're like, hey, let's go for a walk. That's the moth about to fly. Now they're thinking, wait, you don't normally do this. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'd like that. And now they're thinking, oh, I know she's normally a day shift person, so I'm going to make extra sure to keep this walk short. Then maybe she'll be willing to do it more often. Here's where most people fall short in their relationships with INFJs. They stop doing it. They stop doing the same things. You're like, Eric, well, don't they want something different every day? Yeah, no, yes and no. Keep doing the same things that made them feel that way. And then they will be more comfortable to let you know what they want. The goal is to make them feel secure at all times. If you can do that, you can keep the pressurized emotions from surfacing. That's how to keep an INFJ's emotions in check. You all hearing this? Are all of you hearing this? You INFJs out there with all of these complexities of emotions that you can't manage. You can't manage them alone. You need someone to do it for you. They need to make you feel secure and keep your emotions level all the time. So as soon as they call your name, oh, nothing but butterflies all the time. When those moths stop flying away, that is when your turbulence kicks in. This is the hardest thing that I think an INFJ has to really live with. We can't manage our own emotions well. We can do it well enough to keep ourselves calm, but we can't ever stop the turbulence and tide on the inside. We have two options. We're either completely numb or we're complete feelers. We don't have any other choice. And if we're completely numb, we can't love other people, and that breaks us apart and makes us feel worthless. Now depression kicks in. Now we feel like we're not doing what we're created to do. And when we feel everything, we feel the anger, we feel the hatred, we feel the resentment, we feel frustration, we feel like we want to cry. We're watching a show. I was just watching an anime yesterday. I was watching Naruto. Just rewatching the Shippuden series. I was in the pain arc, and I start crying. I'm just like tearing up and crying, and I can't control it, and I'm just like, oh. And I actually did that. That was a sweet scene. I can't control them either. That's my point. All right. In order to keep getting positive responses, it's important to keep giving positive reactions and positive gifts. You don't want to give the gifts that don't fly away. You want to give the gift and just sit there and remain. Like the animal says, oh, well, thanks. I'll put in some extra energy so you know I appreciate you. Even though I don't feel anything, I'll make sure you know I care. More energy from me. And now they're feeling less connected to you and less loved because they spent the energy keep resuscitating the heartbeat to the relationship. So now they don't have as much to give. And they didn't get what they needed from you. So because you didn't make the INFJ feel loved, they're keeping the relationship alive by trying to show you that they're appreciating what you did, even though they don't feel like they appreciated it. Don't snap. Don't snap, all right? Don't snap. It's not their fault. This is why I made a 2-part series. Go back and watch the first part again if you need a quick refresher. It's not their fault. They were wired by God to think this way. Their emotions are their relationship with you. When they don't feel anything from you, for you, by you, with you, they cannot help it. So with their own free will, not listening to their emotions, because their emotions are saying you just don't care. They're saying, yes, stop it. Emotions, stop it. Brain, you know what to do. I do care. I'm going to show them even though I don't feel like it. That's the best act of love an INFJ can give someone. Because you know what? It depletes our energy. It makes us feel like we have nothing left to give. And we don't get anything in return for it. You do. Now, you tell me how that's fair. You say, Eric, why are you going on about this? Tell me how that's fair. And I'll tell you. Who gets the short end of the stick? the INFJ. You say, Eric, the other person's trying all this hard work to give to the INFJ and they're not receiving anything. How is that their fault? Three response questions. 1, how much time did they spend studying their INFJ? And the negative responses. 2, how many bad habits do they still, or did they, but do they still keep repeating? For example, the way that they talk, the phrases that they use, the way that they leave the toilet seat up, their lack of acts of service around the house, their lack of emotional empathy. This is the last question. This is my third response question. When's the last time they put their heart on the floor and cried? Now, think about those 3 questions I asked and compare them to the single reality INFJs are forced to live with. Emotions are our lifeline. It's all we feel with other people. If we don't feel it, it's not there. Now, those 3 questions. Who gets the short end of the stick? You say the other person's trying so hard and getting nothing. They're putting in all this work. And yet, if the INFJ doesn't feel that, it's not hard to please us at all. At all. It is not hard at all. If you can go for weeks on end without pleasing an INFJ or learning what to do, you're just bad at loving them. I'm not even going to cushion this. You're just bad at loving them. And you need to work on your love aspects and your relationships with other people and your communication skills. That's all there is to it. It is not hard to please an INFJ. I've never once in my life, never once found an INFJ who could not be made happy. I have never found it in my life. It is not hard. I've met INFJs in my life. There are some that have come to this channel and they feel loved simply because I've invested in their life and put in a little bit of time and effort. And when I respond to them in the comments, they come back and their next comment is even more empathetic. What did I say? Emotions are their lifeline. They're putting in more emotion because I'm giving more back to them. It's not hard to love an INFJ. It's really not. If you can put in all this effort and still not get it right, you're just doing it wrong. And that's all there is to it. No, the INFJs get the short end of the stick. That's why I'm going through all of this with you. We are the ones who suffer to keep the relationship alive because the other person doesn't know what they're doing. You say, Eric, that's harsh. That's what my videos are for. I make these videos to clarify things so people don't have these problems. It's not harsh, it's educational. And that's all that it is. It is no one's fault that you or anyone else do not have the knowledge of how to love an INFJ. That's not your fault. That is why I make these videos. But if anyone ever hopes to get any better, if anybody ever hopes to resolve this problem of INFJs being heavily misunderstood people, then the truth has to come out. The right blame has to be passed to the right person and people have to take responsibility for what they do not know. That's why I make videos that address both INFJ and non-INFJ individuals. The INFJs, because they need the knowledge taught to them and they need it shared with others who do not know them. And I share it with non-INFJs because there are many people who are curious and need to understand and do not understand how an INFJ thinks. These videos are meant to help people. So now that I've gone through all of this with you, I'm going to tie this back up together and go back to the beginning. How to make an INFJ feel loved. Well, you have 2 options. You can 1, tell them that you love them, or B, try to figure out what makes them happy. That's it. If you can find out what makes them happy, keep on doing it. And then keep asking for more things that they would love. Chances are an INFJ won't tell you, by the way. We are very secretive people. We don't like people knowing because our emotions are as real to us as the invisible God of the universe. All right? Everything we feel is so real. And if we just shared everything about ourselves, that's kind of scary. So we tend not to tell people. Even in marriage, INFJs will not give a straight answer. Sometimes they won't even answer the question. They might even avoid it. You say, Eric, how in the world am I supposed to get to know them if they won't even tell me? Figure it out. Figure it out. Watch our responses. Our facial expressions will say a lot. They'll say a lot. We'll talk with our eyes. Males and females, yes, we will. We will tell you what we are thinking with our body language. I challenge you. Try wording the same compliment 3 different ways. You're going to get different responses. Each one will elicit a different response. Or you might get a blanket response, which means one of 2 things. They didn't feel anything, which is the most likely, or B, they're shutting down, which is a terrible thing, and they need to work on themselves, and it's not your fault. It's their fault. They need to work on that. And then they need to communicate with you what they didn't like hearing, so they can make sure that it doesn't happen again. And you can make sure it doesn't happen again. That's it. Figure out what makes an INFJ happy. Watch their body language. Word your thoughts and change your actions ever so subtly. Instead of approaching them with your hands crossed, don't ever do this to an INFJ, by the way. Bad. Bad, 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 bad. Never again. Don't ever do that. Ever. No. No hand crossing. Bad. Closed body language. Super duper awful bad for an INFJ. No. Kills a relationship. Stabby with a knife. Don't do that. No closed body language. No frowning, no doing this, no stomping your feet, no shrugging your shoulders, no rolling your eyes. No. None of that. All right, INFJs do not respond well to closed body language. Big no. All right, even me doing this is making some of you INFJs feel uncomfortable, I'm sure, because my arms are crossed and I'm blocking off my body language. Now, when I do this, and you can see on my, now, like when I'm tense, you get tense. Now your anxiety is shooting. You're like, Eric, stop. Okay, sorry. And now you're calming down again. INFJs will feed off of your feelings. If you come to them in an angry state, they will respond in kind. If you come to them in a calm, gentle manner, stern, but very gentle, they will respond almost every single time in a positive way and likely submit to you out of feelings. They will literally calm themselves, be meek, and submit to you. Male or female doesn't matter. There has been many times where I submitted to my wife. You say, Eric, that's not how the Bible teaches things. Don't lecture me on how marriages work or relationships work. That is the last thing I need. All right, I'm not trying to sound arrogant here, but just like King Solomon, I've amassed more wisdom than my elders in their 50s. They got no clue the things that I know about. I've been to heaven too. God has taught me many things personally himself. Let me say this again. Emotionally, I was grateful and I felt safe and secure. So I humbled myself, I was meek, and I submitted to what was being said. She would come to me and she would say, Eric, you do this, this, and this, and I don't like it. And it's upsetting to me. She didn't say it quite like that. But she didn't come with that tone of voice saying, Eric, I need to talk to you. I don't like that you're doing this. She said, Eric, I don't like how you're doing that. Honestly, it kind of hurts. Oh, it broke me to my core. That was like a knife to my heart. I felt so terrible. Immediately my heart was humbled and I said, I'm so sorry. I never meant to make you feel that way. And I hammered on myself. I mean, I molded myself as fast as I could so I would never make her feel that way again. Why? Because emotions are an INFJ's lifeblood. It's what we are. And when I felt terrible for how she felt, her feelings became my feelings because I received them. Now, her burdens become my burdens. I want to relieve her burdens. INFJs are loving creatures. Let me heal that heart. Let me heal that soul. Let me take that burden up. Let me fix that trauma. Let me change that emotion. Let me take away that depression. Let me help with that anxiety. Let me cure that illness. Let me go make you soup so you feel better on your sick bed. Let me go take out the trash so you don't have to know. You stay in bed. Let me do the dishes so you can get a day off. Let me fix that exhaustion. That's an INFJ. Let me brush your hair because I love it. I love the way that your hair looks, and I want you to know that I care about it as much as you do. That's emotion. That's an INFJ's love. That's us loving you. All right. INFJ goes up here. Let me take off your glasses for you because that's intimate. And for us, that's us being able to take care of your possessions. That's looking out for you. That's showing our emotional love language to you. Here, why don't you let me bring you the food? Here, I'm going to go make us a campfire. Here, I got you a chair ready. Here, I already made your plate for you before you come out. Here, I already vacuumed the floor before you got home. All these are small things, are ways of an INFJ showing their emotional affection. Here, let me get Neosporin. Here, let me walk the kids. Here, let me put the kids to bed. Here, let me take the kids out for a ride so you can have a day off. Here, let me go do the errands today. Let me go shopping. No, I'll make the shopping list. No, don't worry about it, honey. I'll take the car to the shop. Oh, no, baby, you don't need to do anything. I'll put the laundry away. I'll clean up the toys. I got you a bunch of flowers today. Oh, no, don't worry about it. I'll mow the lawn. Okay. All of these expressions of love are in INFJ's heart. Now, you can't do the same things for every INFJ, but some INFJs respond very well to these things. These are all expressions that you can show to an INFJ. You can find out what pleases them this way. The more you do, the more acts of service you do, the more you'll be able to find positive responses. That's what you want. It's what you're looking for. You have to learn how to love your INFJ. They will not do that for you. We have enough going on inside of our heart, and until you calm the storm within us and keep our emotions quiet, we can't give to you the healthy feedback that you want from us. You want emotional feedback, and you want positive. You don't want us to shut down. You don't want anger, right? You don't want frustration. You don't want drama, right? You don't want any of that. You want healthy, positive, emotional butterflies. Give it to us. We can start giving back, but you've got to keep the lifeline alive. We can't be resuscitating the heartbeat. That's up to you. You have to keep feeding emotions into the lifeline that connects us both. That's the only way to get this to work. If you're married to an INFJ, you need to get this down, and you need to get it down pat. Hardcore. You're allowed to make some mistakes, but you've got to make sure you know this. Like top to bottom in your heart, you got to make sure you know this is what my husband likes. This is how he likes to be treated. This is how he wants me to word these things. This is how he wants me to word correction and corrective behavior. And this is how he wants me to act. He wants me to keep my head bowed when I come to him. And he wants me to look up to him like he's the head of the house. He wants to feel respected. When I come to him, he doesn't want me challenging his authority. When he tells me something, he doesn't want me talking back. That's him testing me to make sure that he's emotionally safe. No, INFJ should not do this. Yes, it happens a lot. And yes, it is a behavior that needs to be corrected. And no, I do not do this. I'm simply pointing it out that it is a very real issue. And if you INFJs are watching this video, you need to stop that. You cannot test people. And I've said this in my other videos. I will say it again. I will keep repeating it as often as it comes up. Do not test people for emotional responses. It will not end well. If you are dating an INFJ, you have got to learn to be respectful of boundaries. Until you're married, you don't get full access to the emotional current. You don't. You don't get to access all of the different feelings and connections you can have with them until you're married. It will sit there on the curb. You may not pick it up. That is not for you to pick up. That's not curbside pickup for you. That's ownership of the INFJ. The INFJ will share those things with you when you marry them. When you marry them, that's curbside pickup, your property. Now it's joint ownership of those emotions. When you marry that INFJ, you had better be committed, because INFJs are not for the faint-hearted. We are not hard to please, but man, do we take a lot of time and effort to keep happy. We only need a few specific things to keep going, but those few specific things, they are crucial. Now, we're very low-maintenance people. We really are. We can keep to ourselves and keep ourselves occupied, but if you miss one tiny thing, it's like, oh man, it's just like a bomb was dropped and our whole day is like, how? I thought you loved me. I thought you cared about me. And now we're going through the emotions, and you come back home from work and she's just going through it. I don't know anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And you come up, honey, what happened? I don't know. You don't just love me anymore. Right? Yeah, pretty good acting, wasn't it? That's all the vocal exercises I do. Oh, man. That happens, though. One tiny mistake and pew, bomb gets dropped. And before you know it, that INFJ is doing that. Happens to males too. Same response. And, for us, those emotional breakdowns, men don't cry often, but when we cry hard. We cry hard. I can already hear my men out there saying, yeah, Eric, you know it. You let them know. You women, you feel a lot. Don't get me wrong. You go through a lot. Your emotions are constantly playing games with you. But, man, when a man, it's like a train wreck for a man. You say it's like a train wreck for a woman on her period. No. Men feel the same as women. When a man is being formed in his mother's womb, a part of his brain does not fully develop. In his brain, he is missing the part that regulates his emotions properly. And when a man hits puberty, vasopressin is released in his blood. This is a chemical in the blood that dampens a man's emotions and causes them to think rationally. When that rationale goes out the window, we feel intensely more than you do. It is bad. That is why most suicides are committed by men, not women. I want to say this because it's a scientific fact. Men feel and hurt worse than women. When they cry, it is worse because we don't cry as often and it does build up. And because of vasopressin, men internalize everything until it explodes and we're the ones who end up on the floor. Okay? Men kill themselves way more than women. So I'm just going to say this again. It is hard to be a man. It is hard to be a man. And it is hard to be a male INFJ who has to regulate our feelings and deal with them. And when those bombshells come and when we get our hearts broken, it is hard to be a man and an INFJ in a male's body because our mind and emotions play games with our soul. And that vasopressin and testosterone doesn't stop either. It just keeps cycling. And we feel everything on the inside that you can't see. Men feel everything that you women don't see. Men were formed and then women were taken out of men. Women are the visible expression of everything a man isn't. Women feel externally. They show externally everything that goes inside on the inside of a man. I'm not here to get into a Bible teaching, but I am here to say, women feel what goes on the inside of a man. Male INFJs, they get it rough. And most of the time, there's no one there for them to cry on. And because INFJs are so misunderstood, not only is it hard to be a man, now it's hard to be a man with no one to get those emotions out to and no one to have a connection with, a real honest connection. Because a woman wants what a man wants to give, but can't because of vasopressin. Because men were not made to be alone and they need that security that comes from a marriage. Male INFJs, I hear all of you out there screaming cheers for someone standing up for you. And I hear the brokenness of your cries as well. And right now, my heart is breaking for you. But I know that there are some of you out there who want to know that your heart is known, that you're not alone, and that it's okay to hurt like this. That it's okay to want to get it out, because it is. And I'm right there with you saying you are not alone. And I know that it might be a little bit intimidating, but I'm just encouraging all you male INFJs out there to drop a comment and say, I'm one of them. I'm one of those men that need to get these feelings out and can't, and no one is there to listen. I need a partner who will listen. I challenge you men, comment below. Say you're one of them. Show the other men that they're not alone. Let us male INFJs band together on this matter. Let us take confidence in the fact that we are not the only ones going through this, that there are others out there. Let the emotional recovery begin. Let the emotional healing start. Go ahead, comment your name if you want to. Comment your specific circumstances if you want to. Comment that you're not the only one. so that others can hear and see too. And if you're a woman going through the same things, comment your experiences below. Let other women know. Let other males know. Let other women know. Let them know that they're not the only ones going through it. That there are men out there who don't understand your complexities of emotions, because you're not only a woman, you're a woman that is also an INFJ, and you are trapped inside a woman's body with all the complexities of emotions that come with being an INFJ. And to top it all off, you can't control them because they are so spontaneous, and your hormones only make it worse, so you go through constant cycles. You go through constant cycles. You go through days where your emotions won't let you decide what's good for you and what isn't. You go through days where you have had nothing to do with anyone else, and yet you feel like someone just hurt you out of nowhere, all because your female hormones are already hitting you and you're going through a downward spiral, and now your complex emotions from being an INFJ are just making it all worse. And you're hitting a train wreck straight through a wall, off the course, and down a waterfall, and you're just hoping Superman will swoop in and pick you up from the falling waterfall so you don't hit the ground. Where are my women? Let me see your comments below. Let me see you confessing I'm not the only one going through this. Let the other women know that it's okay, that they're not crazy, they're not trapped in their mind and needing medication, and they're not messed up. They're an INFJ. This is how God wired them. Let them comment that they need someone to love them. They need a gentle and kind man to stabilize them so that they can be free, right? Come on, comment below. Comment below, INFJs. Let's show the world that we're not the only ones going through this. That we are all made the exact same way. We're not crazy. We're not messed up. We don't need mental help. We need someone to love us. We need someone to care about us. And we need someone who's going to step in and say, I'll take up the mantle here. I'll be the one to love this person. I'll be the one to give them a safe place. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Comment below if I'm right. Let me see the comments. I could keep on going. I am so passionate about this topic. I'm so passionate about INFJs needing to know that they're not alone. And it's so important that we know we are not mentally messed up. We're not emotionally broken. We are INFJs. This is what we are. We are emotional creatures, and emotions are our lifeblood. That is how God made us. Thank God for us INFJs. When we rally together, we become stronger. We become mentally stronger. We become emotionally stronger. We become resilient. We become hopeful and optimistic, and we start to feel better, like we're the people we were meant to be, because we're not alone. Just as man was made in God's image and it wasn't good for him to be alone, woman was made to be with a man. It is not good for a woman to be alone. That's why her emotions get better when she's around a good, healthy, godly man. So for those of you wanting to know how to love an INFJ, figure out what makes them happy, give them a safe place, show them that they can be emotionally secure with you, and don't show closed body language to them. Be kind, be gentle, and don't explode, because they will feed off of your feelings, and that will become their lifeline with you. Keep things healthy, and they will take care of you in return. I hope this video has helped you. Until next time, I'm heading out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all soon.